Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
It was I, the one, the only. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. We made it. They said it couldn't be done, but we did it. It's a 3-episode week of Geeky Gentlemen. It's happened. Congratulations to me. Today I am joined by my good friend Ruben DeBoard, the Comics Kid 2099.
Hello.
And the Geek for Fun, Alfie.
Hello there.
Hello. Today we're discussing a topic that I picked kind of spur of the moment, and this isn't something I necessarily have a lot of complex thoughts on. It's just something that's been kind of on my brain lately, which is always a fun thing to do for a topic. So today we're talking merchandising, and I figured the best way to get into the topic of merchandising would be with a very simple question. So Ruben.
Yeah.
Why is it cool that I have Batman pajamas?
Well, for me, I think it's cool because that is probably a bigger revenue source for DC Comics than the actual comics. And so, while I like the comics, and I don't necessarily, I get like, I've got a Darth Vader cup that I'm drinking from right now. So like, I've got different merchandising stuff, but like, for me, I think it's cool that little bit is probably doing more to keep the company afloat than the comic book sales.
I mean, the sad thing is you are definitely not wrong. But I was asking more from like the deeper side of things, because I know I'm definitely not thinking about that when I get the branded stuff. But like, so I've been going to the gym lately, and I decided to get on brand when I go to the gym. I got a Green Lantern compression shirt that I wear some nights, and I've got a Green Lantern mug. It's a cup. I paid $15 for a plastic cup with a Green Lantern logo on it. It was a really stupid purchase, but I'm so happy that I have a cup with a Green Lantern logo on it. So like, what is the appeal here? Why does just getting that little brand, that little merchandised product feel so good?
Alfie?
Well, I mean, I think the simple answer to a lot of these things is it just looks really cool. Like, the reason I think it's kind of understated a lot, but the reason why superheroes have kind of conquered the pop culture as we see it is because they just look cooler than a lot of other fictional things, a lot of other fictional brands. They've all got a really neat aesthetic, especially like the big ones, like everything about Batman just looks cool. Everything about Spider-Man just looks cool. Everything about Green Lantern just looks cool. Like, of course that's gonna sell stuff. Like, on just a base person level, we like shiny things. I think that pretty much explains a lot.
Okay. You think it's just that simple? Because
You can go deeper into it, but I think, like, if you're just gonna, like, say, when you're, like, a little kid, and you pick up, like, your eyes are drawn to it because like bright colors and because it looks different than everything else. Especially for geeky merchandise, like Darth Vader doesn't look like anything else. I think that's why a lot of people are attracted to it. But there's obviously like a sentimental idea behind it, which I think you might be getting into.
yeah, no. I think you're right, though. But like, I don't think it's a sentimentality. I think it's like almost like some kind of brilliant scheme that took off, and I don't know when. So like, I think we all remember being a kid I think this is a pretty universal experience in the Western world, at least, of being a kid and you're at the store with your mom or your dad and you really want a thing. And it's a really stupid thing. Like, you reflect on it and it's really dumb. Because I remember I had this, I know my brother had this, like, one day my mom was going through the kitchen cleaning stuff and she goes, "Oh, Gabe, it's the orange peeler. Do you want this?" And he's like, "No, just throw it away." And she goes, "But you cried. You wanted this so badly, you cried for it." It's not like it's a branded orange peeler, but it's just, you know, you can peel an orange with fucking anything, but they've developed a tool to peel oranges with. And apparently my brother was really little and he wanted that tool so badly, he cried for it. Mm-hmm. And, like, I know I had that experience with stuff. I know, like, I really wanted this Coca-Cola koozie, drink koozie, that had the Coke logo on it and everything. It was red, and it was designed to hold the glass bottles. You couldn't hold a normal bottle of Coke in it. It was too small, but the glass bottles fit inside of it perfectly, mm-hmm. and I really, really wanted it. And I was, like, way too old for this shit, but I fucking made my dad buy it for me. I was like 13 for some fucking reason. I really wanted that shit because I was obsessed with glass bottle soda at that point. I'd gotten into, like, Jones soda and shit at that point. And so I think about merchandising and this almost perverse hold that it has over you when you see the thing and you want the thing and the shiny. And I kind of wonder if, like, all these companies have kind of brainwashed us into just being, you know, kind of eternally children in a very particular way of, like, you've got to have the merchandise thing with the logo on it and all that stuff. I really wonder if we're all just brainwashed. And if we are, I'm going to say, at least in my case, they didn't have to do a whole lot of brainwashing. Like, I'm going to say that if we are acting like children in indulging ourselves with merchandising, and I'm assuming we all three of us and everyone listening has some kind of merchandising of their favorite property, but I'll say it may be childish to say, like, I'm drinking out of a Darth Vader cup, whereas it's slightly more adult to drink out of a regular cup. But you know what? Indulge me. Like, you know, it's been a long week. We were just talking about that before we recorded. Like, it's been a heck of a week. I'm going to drink out of my Darth Vader cup. I'm going to wear, I don't know, a shirt that has Spider-Man swinging with Gwen Stacy and it says pickup artist, you know? Like, it's funny and it makes me feel good. And, you know, maybe it is childish, but, like, I think it's an easy sell. And sometimes, like, I'm a huge cheapskate. So, like, you know, I wouldn't pay $15 for a Green Lantern mug, but I have bought merchandise before, stuff that I'm probably never going to use. Like, I bought a Spider-Man action figure at work a couple weeks ago, and I just put it on my shelf sitting in front of the books. And it's not a practical purchase, but it looks cool. And so, and I wouldn't have bought it at Walmart, but I bought it at work. So, but I think there's always that, like, you know, it doesn't necessarily serve a purpose other than it looks neat, kind of like what Alfie was saying earlier.
And I think, like, going off that, you put on a good point of where I'm kind of like, where did this all start? Where did this all come from? And I think if we just, like, limit ourselves specifically to, like, comics, just for a bit, and then maybe branch out a bit, but I think maybe it started the moment they finalized the logo, either Superman or Batman, because they didn't start out with the logos, like, defined yet, because it wasn't really a focus. But I think the DC specifically, like, early days, because Marvel didn't really have, like, identifiable logos back then. They still changed theirs a lot, but going back on top. So, Superman and Batman specifically, the moment we got the yellow oval with the bat, or we got the S shield where it wasn't, like, the black and the red S, it was just, like, the other thing. I think that was the moment when they started putting that on T-shirts, when they started putting that on mugs. You put that on anything, and then you know, this is a sign of, you know, that thing. if you see someone with that thing or someone wearing that T-shirt, oh hey, they also know that thing. You get a connection, maybe start up a conversation about it. It just like it is something an identifiable thing. The same way, especially with like fandom, it's the same way like a lot of sports fans will like wear their teams' jerseys or something. Me talking as if I know anything about sports. But like this whole idea of like building a community almost, like that we've been brainwashed by these companies into like supporting them or just a specific franchise. Like I know Ian is probably the biggest Green Lantern fanboy on the planet, so of course all his things are like look like constructs.
You know, it's
prepping that brand.
oh yeah, always. It's really interesting you mentioned the sports thing because I wasn't planning to talk about this. You just drew a memory up for me of hanging out with my friend Bobby. We went to the mall, and Bobby's he's a pretty basic white bitch. He likes NASCAR. Is kind of that kind of white. Likes NASCAR. And we're at a store in the mall one day that's selling jerseys and stuff. And he's like, oh, sweet, they got like the NASCAR equivalent of the jersey, which is like the jacket the drivers wear like in the car before they get in the car or whatever. And he's like, oh, these are so much cooler than any other jersey for any other sport. They're like so like heavy and cool and thick. I really love these. And I look at it and it's just got like the Tide logo on it and like the Pepsi logo and there's just fucking a million logos just patched onto the thing all over the place. It's exactly what the driver wears. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, dude, wouldn't you feel like such a whore wearing that? And like he looked at me and I could see on his face that I just ruined it for him because he never thought about it in that regard, that you literally, when you put on a jacket like that, you walk around like a billboard. But you know what? Not 20 minutes ago, or not even half an hour ago, as of the time of this recording, I was doing a live show for my comic reviews, where I was reviewing, my usually DC books. I think I had a Marvel in there. I was doing my comic show, and I'm wearing the same hoodie I was wearing during that. It's a Flash hoodie. How the fuck am I any different? I'm just sitting here advertising for the Flash TV show, which I don't even fucking watch. But I clearly look like I'm really into that show or something because I'm repping this Flash hoodie, and I remember buying this Flash hoodie. I was in Florida on my honeymoon, and it was a little colder than I expected, so we popped inside a store real quick, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna buy a hoodie in there real quick. And I saw a hoodie, and there's pretty basic black, just solid black thing, and I thought about buying it. And then I look up, and I see this Flash hoodie. I'm like, oh no, I gotta get that. I gotta have the Flash hoodie. I'm not even that big of a Flash fan. I like the Flash. The Flash is cool. He's not even in my top 10 superheroes. Not even in my top 10 DC superheroes. But it's a Flash hoodie. I gotta have it. And so it's interesting to look at it from the perspective of the other, because when Bobby and I were at the store, he was into the thing. He was into the thing that enabled him to look past being a billboard, and I was not, so I was able to call him on it. But now that I'm thinking about myself, I really what brought on this topic was, why is it that I want the thing that has the logo on it? That'll be interesting to discuss. And that was all I thought about. This whole idea of billboards, of being brainwashed, none of that had entered my head until this discussion. And so, like, it's like you have a blinder on for it when it's your thing. But then when you see someone else representing their thing, do you think it's fair to say you become more critical of it, or is that just me?
No, definitely.
I never really, I guess for me, the direction I thought you were going with that NASCAR thing was like when you said like a walking billboard, I was thinking, yeah, kind of like NASCAR itself. Like
Oh,
you know,
yeah, that too.
The drivers who have like, you know, Coca-Cola and then Minute Maid and like, or, you know, all these different products all over their shirt. And I guess it's kind of like that with other sports, but like you don't see who's a basketball player. I'm really showing my sports knowledge right now.
LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron. You don't see LeBron as he's dribbling down the court wearing an advertisement for Pepsi or whatever. He may do
You
commercials.
know what you do see, though? You see the Pepsi banner on the sidelines in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You see the commercial overlay during the like breaks in between plays and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like with, I'd say maybe you could say you're more critical. Like I've never, you know, Alfie was talking about how like I see someone wearing a Batman shirt and it's like, hey, there's a connection. I don't put as much thought into that now because I remember, a guy I used to know, he loved wearing Superman shirts. And one day, you know, this kind of takes us back, Ian, to that discussion we did with Manos where we talked about toxic fandom and gatekeeping. And I mentioned in that video that I'm kind of bad about if I find out someone likes the X-Men, I'm going to start hounding them and saying like, hey, what's your favorite X-Men comic? Who do you like to, and I'm going to like scare them away from the X-Men. And with this, this guy, I was trying very hard to be cool about it. I said, so you like Superman, huh? And he was just instantly like, no, I just like wearing her shirts. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, I was just kind of deflated. And like, I remember in high school, a guy had a shirt. It looked a lot like the Robin logo, like the R. And I don't know if that was actually a Robin shirt because I've never seen Robin shirts before. I've seen Batman shirts everywhere, but Robin shirts I've never seen. And this was not the kind of guy who read comics, so I never talked to him about it, but I was sitting here thinking like, is that a Robin shirt? Like it got me to thinking more than it probably got him to thinking. But yeah, that was that kind of experience kind of put me off of like, if I see someone like at work, I'll see someone wearing like a Suicide Squad t-shirt, and you know I wasn't a big fan of that movie, but I'll say, hey, nice shirt, just to kind of give them the little salute and like, you know, I read comics. I don't know if you do, but hey, attaboy for sporting the merch.
Yeah. You know, you reminded me of several things there. So there's this guy at work who he's kind of into geeky stuff, but only select things. He's more into like American superheroes, not into anime, that kind of thing. But he's also really into sports. And several times now he's worn this shirt, and I shit you not, it's a fucking 3-star Dragon Ball on the shirt. I promise you it is a 3-star Dragon Ball. If it's almost like the double perception thing, like someone sees a vase but someone sees a face kind of image, where like it's clearly a 3-star Dragon Ball. But I'm like, wait, is that a Dragon Ball shirt? He goes, no, it's like the Tigers or some fucking random sports team, hockey or some fucking logo. I don't even know. I'm trying to like Google image it and I can't even think of the name of the team, and 3-star sports logo is apparently too vague. But anyway, so he's like, no, it's this sports team, and I'm just like, that's so weird that it's so similar. And it's just like you got this like little blinder moment on because I'm like, oh shit, Jason, you like Dragon Ball? He goes, what? No, I don't know anything about Dragon Ball. And like anytime I see him wear that shirt now, I'm like, oh, there's that fucking weeb in his Dragon Ball shirt. Just to fucking make him laugh because it's so particular. So the way that the branding can kind of like cross and you can be at those odds and ends. But like, so you definitely have that aspect of it. Then you have like the fact that it has just permeated to like the branding thing could just be, oh no, I just think it looks cool. Like, I'm pretty sure there are people out there that own like a really particularly kind of like more subtle geeky shirt and don't even know what it is. They just think the thing looks cool. Like not wearing a Superman logo but not being into Superman because you still know what Superman's logo is. But like there has to be like someone that has, I don't know, a fucking Knight Rider shirt just because they like cars but they've never heard of the show or some shit like that. That has to be a thing that happens.
I've known a couple of people who have, especially like earlier days, like girls who would wear like the Harley Quinn like black and red tights with like the diamonds, or like bags with the diamonds on it. And I say, oh, that Harley Quinn. He's like, who? Like,
Yep.
that kind of thing is because it's such a very sleek look. It looks cool, but you wouldn't know who it was unless you knew who the character was.
Yeah, that's a really good example.
I remember when I was a sophomore in high school, this guy, I think he came into our class kind of late in the year in English, and one time he was wearing a shirt with the Thundercats logo on it. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you Google Hawkman logo and then you Google Thundercats logo, they are astonishingly similar. And in fact, I'm right now looking at Hawkman logo on Google Images, and at least one of these pictures is 100% the Thundercats logo. And I remember, I think that day in class when he was wearing that shirt, I did not think about whatever we were talking about, To Kill a Mockingbird or whatever. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about, is that guy wearing a Hawkman shirt or a Thundercats shirt? And I spent so much time thinking about that. And I don't know if he even knew. This was probably a shirt he got at Hot Topic or Spencer Gifts. I don't know. And I feel like that's, like I said earlier, like I'm sure DC and Marvel, a lot of their bank comes from people who don't care at all about Spider-Man or going to Spider-Man movies, but they, hey, this is a cool shirt, it's funny, and then they'll buy it. I think that happens a lot.
No, I think you're absolutely right about that. And then there's like the kind of thing that happens that just undeniably feels really good when it does. And so I'm gonna tell another story here. I was at the gym. I'm going to the gym, trying to get in shape, you know. And so we've got 3 shirts that I'm wearing to the gym. 3 compression shirts. One of them is the Green Lantern shirt I mentioned. One of them is a Batman Beyond shirt no one cares about yet. The third one is a Vegeta Saiyan armor shirt. It's my favorite. And so I've gotten several compliments on that shirt. Several people while I've been at the gym have stopped me and been like, "Oh man, that's so cool. Where'd you get that?" But the best moment happened when I was working on one of the machines, and I happened to look up. And I see a dude walking through the floor, and he's got a Goku shirt on. And he and I meet eyes, and he like pops his shirt, like grabs his shirt real quick. Looks at me and like gives a thumbs up, and I give him a thumbs up back. I'm like, that's so cool. So it's just the fucking I don't know what it is, but that feeling feels so cool. Like, we're both into this thing. Yeah.
That story did not go where I expected it to. I was expecting you both to start doing the Kamehameha and like, blow up the gym.
I mean, I legit thought about trying to hunt him down and see if he wanted to do a picture of like us like charging energy, but that would be probably too embarrassing even for me. But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
Have you ever? I guess we've danced around this a little bit, but like I talked about a guy wearing like a Thundercat shirt, and I'm not. Like, I mentioned the gatekeeping thing. Like, I don't care what shirt people wear. Like, if someone wears a Suicide Squad shirt and they don't know anything about the characters, they've never even seen the movie, I don't care. Wear whatever shirt you want to wear. But I am curious, has anyone here ever worn a shirt for something that they don't care about? Like, for example, I'm not, like, the biggest Green Lantern fan, but I do have a Green Lantern shirt. Is there something like that you guys have?
As a gift, I got a Woodstock shirt because I like a lot of 60s music and I don't really care for 60s culture, but friend of the family just like knew that I really liked 60s rock music, and so he got me a Woodstock shirt. And I just don't throw away clothing until it's like completely destroyed, so I still fucking have that thing, and I wear it occasionally. People are like, "Oh yeah, Woodstock, so cool." I'm like, whatever. Really no interest in it. The music was bad. The only thing worthwhile at Woodstock was Jimi Hendrix playing the Pledge of Allegiance on guitar. Or not the Pledge of Allegiance, sorry, the national anthem on guitar. That's the only thing worthwhile at Woodstock. So I guess kind of like that. How about you guys? You got a story?
The only kind of thing I can think of is I was at a Comic-Con and it was very hot because I was in my like full Daredevil costume. So like in that kind of thing, you just bake. How on you can't see, so you're right up sweat. You can't see that big. So me and Sarah, my girlfriend, were just like, okay, I'm probably gonna need a change of clothes with me. I don't actually bring one because I'm an idiot. But like maybe just take the top off so I can have something. Oh, there was like a win thing you could like buy win t-shirts if you do like good in a thing. So my girlfriend would like this Call of Duty t-shirt for me that I just cut on because I'm gonna die in like the heat of a Daredevil costume. And I've still got that. I have no interest whatsoever in first-person shooters or like that genre, but like it's a comfy shirt.
Yeah, I think that happens quite a bit. I feel like you just kind of end up with the shirt from the thing that you don't have any interest from. How about you, Ruben? You, besides the Green Lantern thing, you got anything in your wardrobe or in your you got like a, do you have like a Disney plate or something?
I'm trying to think. Like I've got that Spider-Man shirt I mentioned earlier where he's holding Gwen and he's swinging and it says "Pickup Artist." And I mostly got that because I thought it was funny. I like Spider-Man, okay? I don't read a lot of Spider-Man, but I thought that shirt was really hilarious, and so I got that. And then there's a Green Lantern shirt.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like I gotta think. You got me thinking about this shirt. He's holding Gwen Stacy. You're 100% sure it's Gwen Stacy, right?
Yeah.
Well, he fucking dropped her, so that shirt is dumb.
Yeah.
Literally about to say, is there a different shot where it's her next that says "Bad Breaker"?
Alfie, that should be you and Sarah's next couple cosplay.
What? Just me walking around while she lays flat on the ground with like a...
No, those shirts. You should design. You should find the shirt Ruben has, and then create the shirt that you just described. You guys should walk around wearing those.
I'll have to put the idea. That's actually kind of brilliant.
Oh, that's so tragic. Okay, I'm sorry, Ruben. Continue.
I can't really think of anything that I have that I'm not a fan of off the top of my head. Like, you know, I've got 3 Star Wars cups. I've got my Darth Vader cup that's like pretty tall, and it's like I drink out of it every day. And then I've got 2 mugs. I got one for Christmas this past year, and then I got one at work, and I don't really drink out of them. I got the one as a gift, and I got the other because I thought it looked really cool. But and you know, like I've got stuff like that I like that I don't use a lot. Like I've got a lunchbox, like a children's lunchbox with Anakin and Obi-Wan from one of the Clone Wars cartoons, and I have never used it because it's not quite big enough for me to take my lunch to work in. And I'm just a little bit of a hypocrite because I'm afraid of what people will say if I bring a Star Wars lunchbox to work. But also, like, I've got stuff where it's like, I like this thing, but I don't necessarily have a use for this item.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll go a little bit, like, I'm just looking around my office here at stuff I have, and I'm like, I've got a Godzilla figure. I bought it for a specific purpose, and, like, I want to like Godzilla, but I've never been able to. Don't like any of the movies. There's one really good comic book. That's pretty much it. You know, there's just not that much like Godzilla that I actively enjoy. Whereas, you know, the toy's still cool, and I can make it fight Cthulhu, and I really like that. For some reason, the idea of Godzilla fighting Cthulhu is really cool to me, and I've got a shirt with it too. Yeah. So like, there's that. I got an Aquaman Lego because it came with a couple Justice League Lego sets. I've got some Aquaman Lego stuff. I'm like, okay, this is a thing. I'll put it with my wife's Little Mermaid Lego set. That's cute. You know, there's just like there's stuff that I kind of have through circumstance. that I'm not really into, but at the same time, I'm not gonna re-condo this shit and throw it away. That's dumb for some reason.
I do have an Aquaman shirt that I bought. I don't know if you guys had Sam Goody where you live, but it was back in the 90s, I guess it was where you went and bought your music. But for my life, it was where you could go to buy like box sets of DVDs and stuff like that and various merchandise. And they had a closing out sale last August where I live. And I bought a couple of shirts. I got one as a gift for my sister, which actually I still haven't given her because I had plenty of stuff for her, so I'm saving it for her birthday this year. And then I got, I got a Bob's Burgers t-shirt. I got I think I got a Pokemon t-shirt, and then I got this Aquaman t-shirt where it's like the Pop Funko version of Aquaman, you know, the big head and the black eyes and all that. And I like Aquaman. I've got Aquaman comics, and I think he's a cool character. Kind of like you, like I don't know if I'd say he's in my top 5 DC characters, but I do like Aquaman. But mostly I think it was these shirts were like dirt cheap, and so I found and it may have even been like buy 2 get 1 free. So I was like looking for another shirt so I could get the other 2, and that might have been what was going on there.
I mean, that's cool. Like, yeah, I think a lot of the stuff I have that is like not something I'm a fan of, I have mostly just through circumstances. Kind of the more I think about it, the more I kind of come down to that. I'm trying to think of like T-shirts and stuff that I own, and it's like, yeah, just someone got it for me, or it was just cheap, and I was like, it's kind of cool looking. But yeah, most of it's just through random circumstance. So like, I don't know, I do a pretty good job of like kind of catering to my likes, as far as what I end up getting merchandise of. It's not random. Mm-hmm. And so that like kind of makes me think again about the brainwashing thing. Like it's clearly not just that like, oh, this is a shiny, because I have a very specific set of things that I want stuff from. And like, you know, the thing, I've talked about this a lot in like private conversation. I'm not sure if I've ever really brought it up on the show before. I will never in my life get a tattoo. And it's because I really can't commit to something that much.
Me too.
I go through phases, man. Like, I really like Green Lantern. I am not anywhere near as into Green Lantern now as I was like 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. I still really like Green Lantern. It's just I'm not really in a mood for Green Lantern right now. I'm looking here in front of me. I got a Doctor Who TARDIS drink cozy, and I've got an image of the 3D model of the interior of the TARDIS control room that I designed, framed right up above my desk. I haven't even fucking watched the new season of Doctor Who yet, and it's, like, been out. Like, I go through these passing phases with things. So, it's not like you can just put any kind of logo on anything and I'll get it because it's a shiny. It has to be to my taste, but it also has to be presented to me, or it has to be around me at a time when I'm going to be inclined to get it. And then I'm thinking about this store that's at the mall called Box Lunch that has a lot of the merchandise and just cool stuff. And I'm like, I kind of like their stuff. I've gone in there, I'm like, oh, this Looney Tunes shirt with a bunch of the characters on it is really cool. But it was like $40 for a t-shirt. It's
wow.
Like, fuck that noise. So it's not like I'm just... So, like, there's a temptation to think it's some kind of brainwashing thing, but I'm not... If it is, it's definitely not a hard sell, but it's definitely not, it's like it's just fucking Pavlovian or something. I won't just do anything because it's got my character's, or a character that I like's logo on it. Like, I think with anything with, it's not even nerd culture, anything with like the consumerist culture in which we live, it's not really a problem until you make it a problem. Like, I tend to think about those people who have, like, an entire room devoted to The Simpsons and The Simpsons merchandise, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I tend to think about that kind of thing, where I'm like, that's a little weird. I I'm not necessarily one to judge. You know, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, but clearly my glass house is made of a much sturdier material than theirs, right? Like, I've got like clearly tempered glass, and they've got like glass from the 70s built in the walls of their house. Is kind of the way I tend to think about it.
I had so for Christmas, my sister got me back in the early 2000s, or may have even been. It was around the time of Phantom Menace came out. There was this brand of toy called Applause, and they did a figurine of, it was about like a foot tall maybe. They did one of Qui-Gon Jinn, they did one of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they did one of Darth Maul. And for a very long time, I've had one of Darth Maul, but missing the lightsaber. It was one of these things where the lightsaber came out of the hilt. And I just got it for like $1 at a comic book store because it was missing the lightsaber. Well, then my sister, she found at a thrift store where she lives the Obi-Wan Kenobi that was also missing the lightsaber. And so I am now like seriously been looking for the Qui-Gon Jinn, but I'm also, because I mentioned already that I'm a cheapskate, I'm like, I don't want to pay $10 for it. Like I want it, but I don't want it that badly. So I think like you were saying, like, you know, the brainwashing, I think in a way, like, I'll obviously be interested in merchandise, especially if it features characters I like, but I'm also...
So why would you want something with Qui-Gon Jinn on it? Oh!
Hey, I think he may have been the best part of the Phantom Menace. I will die on that hill. But not saying much, but... oh! Anyway. Yeah, so, like, I like merchandise and products and stuff with the characters I like and with things that are related to the things I like, but also I'm like, oh wow, that's really expensive. Like I'd love to have, you know, those like really sturdy statues of, like, you know,
so
like,
cool,
like
those
Superman from New Frontier or something. I'm like, oh, that looks awesome. And then it's like, oh, it's like $100. No thank you. Like I'll just save my money and not buy that thing.
Yeah, no, totally. Like that's the thing, is like, I have no idea how there are statue collectors. Like, the fact that there's a market and that they're routinely releasing statues, like, that are $200-$300 on the low end sometimes. I'm like, nope. I have no idea how there's that much of a market for it, because I would like some of those things, but hell no. Dude, like, I just spent $200 getting my tire replaced. And that was like, oh man, that's a pretty big investment. I gotta kind of watch my spending for the next couple weeks here until I get paid again. I can't even imagine dropping $200 for something that's gonna just sit on the shelf.
They have chosen to give up eating.
Yeah. Anorexia and statue collecting go hand in hand. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah.
That was a bit dark. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. What, Alfie?
I was just calling you both absolute madmen.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, here's an interesting question, because like I always fear with the Geeky Gentlemen that we come off as like way too pompous and like we act like we're above it sometimes. Like, so I really am curious about this. What is something that you spent entirely too much money on? For as far as like a merchandising tie-in, and since Alfie's been quiet for a while, let's ask him.
Cosplay, kill me now. I've ruined my life. I don't even know if that counts as merchandising, but I'm kind of a walking promotion when I do it, and it's not too much, but it's like this recent Spider-Man one that I'm doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, if that's your answer, I'm going to say it looks really good. Like, I saw your picture of your Spider-Man in progress, and I was like, holy dang. Like, that looks like something that would show up in a movie. So, you know...
Very kind. But it's still, when I look at it, and I, like, think, okay, but now how much have I spent? Oh, God. It's never... I know some people go super hardcore with it, and I don't understand these guys who, like, have these, like 1,000, I don't know, but I will say dollar, pound for me. Like these $1,000 like Batfleck costumes with like the detailed textured like suits, and like the cows are perfect, but like they cost more than like a car's. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna just spend the day in that, probably sweat to death, and then walk out. But I mean, sure, you look badass. It's just that kind of thing. I feel like that's the most I've ever spent on merchandise, if it is even. It's on that. It's related to the character. And it's geeky stuff, and it's like I buy materials to make it, so I'm gonna count that. Apart from that, I've always had the temptation, like you say, the statues look fucking badass. I actually would like some of them because it's a handy reference when people actually take something that's in the comics and then bring it to life, and they add like textures of like, okay, how would this actually look? It's a nice reference to have when you can like turn something around, so you can look at if you're building something. But no, apart from that, I stick on the cheap end, and I find it's more charming that way. Like Spider-Man bed sheets in my university accommodation. Hell yes, like it's completely fine and it works badass. So no, not really overspending apart from that.
All right. I'll go ahead and go next because like I was just sitting here like I have no idea how you spend $200 on a thing. So let me tell you about the time I spent $200 on an action figure. So like okay. Here's the thing. This is complicated. All right. So I have an action figure of Kratos from the beginning of God of War 2, where he's got all the godly power and he's got like that really sick armor. I absolutely love that armor. It's cool as shit. And I was going through a spurt of Green Lantern intense fandom where I was doing really, really poor photoshops of characters as if they'd gotten a core ring from one of the different colored cores. And I knew instantly, Kratos, Red Lantern. No hesitation on that. So I did a Photoshop of it, and it's actually the best one I did. Like, I found the photo, or found the image of Kratos in the armor, and I changed a bunch of the colors, and put the Lantern logo on it. It's the best Photoshop I did from that line. The others are terrible. But I did that, and then I found this guy that did custom figures, and I already had the Kratos and the armor action figure, and so I was like, hey, if I send you this, how much we talking to turn it into this image? And we haggled a bit, and he's like, yeah, $200. And I have a credit card that, like, when I use it, I get points, and I can exchange those points for money back, because I don't know what the fuck bankers do, but apparently that's a profitable thing for them. And so I had $200 worth of points, and I was like, technically this could be free money, and I could just use it responsibly and put it back into my account, or use it to pay off some of the credit card and really game the system like that. Or I could get this really fucking sick-ass Red Lantern Kratos action figure that no one else in the world will have. I got this sick-ass Red Lantern Kratos action figure that no one else in the world has, and it looks really great. Unfortunately, it fell recently in the... I love the thing that Johns and his artists introduced early on in his run, where the symbol on the Green Lantern and the other Lantern chests would project off of them, kind of like it's like a siren or something. I thought, as like its own construct, I thought that was the coolest thing, and so the guy Hunter Knight Customs does great work. I went through a whole thing with him about getting the Red Lantern logo to project as like this transparent piece of red plastic from Kratos' chest. And it stuck there and everything for the longest time, and it was great, and then he fell right onto it one time, and the little plastic rod broke, unfortunately. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it sucks, but it still looks cool as shit. It's still fucking awesome.
I was just, like, as you were telling that story, I Googled your name with Red Lantern Kratos and found that video. It does look like a pretty cool figure.
Yeah, I fucking love that thing. He put like blood coming out of the mouth and shit. It's too awesome. He even sculpted a little ring onto one of the fingers. It's too fucking neat. And yeah, it's like it's a frivolous thing and it's technically not merchandising, but it might as well be. Just like Alfie was saying, I find it interesting that both Alfie and I went for like this thing that technically the companies don't even want you doing. Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird?
We like to pretend rebels as big shell out.
Right. We're walking billboards and we're like, give us this thing. This is like the memes are great, and one of the best memes out there is the "shut up and take my money" Fry, and I swear to God that shit is so relatable because fucking a couple of years ago Green Lantern was doing a lot of crossovers. There was a Green Lantern Star Trek series, there was Green Lantern Planet of the Apes. I swear to God, you give me Green Lantern and God of War, I'm there for it. Mm-hmm. I'll be the only one probably, but I'm there for it. Oh. All right, Ruben, how about you? What have you paid money for that you are not proud you spent that much money on?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've I don't do like, put a lot of money into one purchase. I'm bad about spending a lot of small purchases. Like, I've got an ungodly amount of comic books to the point where like I have seriously considered recently, like, rereading some books that I remember not enjoying. And, like, if I don't enjoy this book a second time through, I'm going to get rid of this book. Like, feeling like I need to purge some of my books so that I have room on my shelves for everything that I do enjoy. So, like, I've got just so many comic books, like, or graphic novels, whatever we call them. And I've got, like, figurines that I put on my bookshelf that all they're doing is sitting on my bookshelf. And like, there's some people who will like, they'll do like fun stuff with their figures, like custom figures and stuff like that. And that sounds really cool, but to me, like would have like a anxiety attack if I imagine somebody like taking apart one of my figures I paid money for to make another figure. Like I'd just be like terrified of like, no, I paid money for that. I did, So I'm a big fan of the 1980s Teen Titans series, and I don't think I paid too much for this, but right now DC is doing these paperback editions of that series, reprinting that series, and it's about like 8 issues per volume. And before they were doing those volumes, they had a couple of omnibuses that one of them was going insanely high, like $200. I didn't buy that. But I was looking on eBay like, okay, this is $200. I'm never, ever going to be able to sit down and read the entire Marv Wolfman, George Perez Teen Titans run like I want to. And I had a lot of the single issues. Didn't have all of them, but I had a huge chunk of them. But I'm weird. Like I could have like a pile of 75 single issues sitting in front of me, and I would rather read the trade paperback. And because then I'm having to put each issue back in the plastic bag, and it's just easier for me to pick up a book. But I went on a little bit of an eBay quest trying to fill in the holes that I was missing, and I think I've got like some of the kind of expensive issues that, like, especially now, like I've got DC Comics Presents issue 26, which I think I paid about $5 for, and that is more than I would want to pay for a single issue, especially, and it's just like, 26 pages or whatever. Like I could, definitely pay that for like a trade, but like for a single issue, I'm thinking, that's almost too much. But at the time, I didn't think we were ever going to get reprints of, or let me say, reasonably priced reprints of the Teen Titans run. And I thought, well, this is the first issue of, or this is the first appearance of that particular version of the Titans, so I have to get it. But I got it, and then I also got the first appearance of Deathstroke, and I didn't pay that much for it. I paid less than $5 for it, but now, thanks to Arrow, the last time I looked, that issue is going for like $50 on eBay, and so I'm kind of proud that I have that issue now. I didn't pay that much for it, but paying $5 for a single issue, to me, again, I'm a cheapskate. I don't have any really fun stories like paying $200 for a figure, but for me, that was like a big deal. Like I was looking at that and just like, ooh, I can't believe I did that. But also like, and now like I don't know what to do with it. It's like I've just got this issue sitting here. I've got those volumes of Teen Titans, the trade paperbacks on my bookshelf, and that's what I'm gonna read. But I don't want to get rid of these single issues now.
Actually, you remind me of two funny stories. So one of them, speaking of paying way too much money for a single issue comic book, for the dumbest possible reason too. So I mentioned the Green Lantern Star Trek crossover that happened. They released a bunch of variant covers for that, and one of them is just fantastic. It's 60s Kirk and Spock on the bridge of the Enterprise, but they're both wearing Green Lantern shirts that look like the Star Trek uniform, and so like where the Starfleet badge is, there's the Green Lantern logo and shit, and they're like Kirk's sitting in the captain's chair and Spock's standing right next to him. They even got the little domino masks on. And I was like, that cover is fucking awesome. Like, you can write a story just based off that cover. And it's a variant. And it was like $8. It was $8 for like a $4 comic. It's literally double the price for nothing but a cover. And I bought it and I felt dumb. Like I could appreciate just the image. I'd be fine. You can Google image that shit right now and get the same amount of enjoyment I got out of it. But I had to have it. I felt dumb, but I did it. So there's that. What was the other one that you reminded me of with the with comics and stuff like that? Okay. But on that same note of doing something kind of stupid, paying money for something just because it's a cool cover or whatever, this was back when I first started collecting single issues and stuff because I'd caught up with all the trades my library had. So it's like 2010, maybe early 2011. I bought a What If, Marvel What If Venom possessed Deadpool. Bought it solely because of the cover. It's really cool. Just imagine like a red Venom, more or less, but with the like Deadpool black eyes. Bought it, $3 comic. It's not good. It's like Marvel does what ifs every now and again, and some of them are fun because they just tell like a story in that universe, and a lot of them suck because they try to give you that version of the character's entire history. And that's dumb, in a single comic. Yeah, it's not a good comic. It's worth like $400 right now.
Yeah. I just looked it up. It's got a Scotty Young cover on my comic shop, which is what I use when I'm looking up covers and when a comic came out. $540 for a 9.8 graded version of that comic.
Yeah. So like sometimes it can pay off.
Yeah.
I pulled it a couple weeks back and it was so funny. I came home because what happened is I was talking with one of the guys at work and we were talking about like Ghost Rider is kind of a cool character on his own or whatever, but like you make someone else Ghost Rider and it's immediately more interesting. Like you make Black Panther Ghost Rider and suddenly that's really cool. And we were just going back for them like Venom's just like that. You give someone a symbiote and suddenly it's cooler. And I go, oh yeah, like I remember an old comic I have is like Deadpool Venomized and like the cover's really cool. He's like, oh man, I totally want that. I'm gonna look it up, see if I can get a copy right now. And he goes and like, Ian, that's a $400 comic. And I'm like, what? And so I come home and I make Haley come upstairs to the office and I start pulling out the long boxes, going through, trying to find it. And I hand it to her and she goes, okay, what? And I got it pulled up on my phone and I put my phone right next to the comic and it's like, shows the value at $400. She's like, you're kidding. So like, I mean, dead honest, that single spur of the moment purchase probably paid for that entire long box worth of comics that thing was sitting in. Which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So I don't know, just two little cool stories about shit that can work out that way.
Yeah. I always get a big kick out of like, and I never plan on selling these comics unless it's just like, I'm down to my last penny and I need to pay rent or whatever. But I just like the idea of I have something that's worth something and I didn't pay that much for it. I always like that.
I'm gonna sell this thing. It's just I'm in a debate with myself right now if I want to pay money to have it graded so I can get more money out of it, or if I just want to say, I paid $3 for it. I'll take $1.60. That's the kind of debate I'm in right now. It's like, should I invest money into it now in order to get its value up, or what do I do? I don't know.
Yeah.
I also have Batman Damned #1, and that's the version with Batman's penis in it, so that's worth some money right now.
Even if it wasn't, I mean, you got to see Batman's penis. Like,
yeah,
consider yourself really lucky. I had to Google image for that. Like, you got the real thing. I seriously did Google image for it. I had to see whatever.
I believe you. I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't. You wouldn't want to Google image Batman's penis. I've been doing that for years. Oh man. Okay. So we've talked a lot about like things related to merchandising. I find it funny that Alfie and I are like the thing we've spent the most money on is something that's not technically merchandising in the strictest sense of things, which is kind of funny. I paid I really like custom figs. Ruben, you should look into custom figs. You might get a kick out of it. Because I got a custom Mogo too, because DC's never made a Mogo figure, so it really is shut up and take my money. Because I instantly have paid them for a Mogo figure, but they never made one, so I had to go out and pay someone to make me a Mogo.
And you would think with that, like, they could just do put out a basketball and paint it like Mogo, and it's like, hey, there it is. Like, I'm sure they've got like sports equipment that's got superhero imagery on it, so like that'd be they're sitting on a gold mine right there.
I know, right? It's so easy. But the thing is that you don't understand is DC is absolutely trash at making Green Lantern merchandise. Like, okay, here we go. I try not to do this rant too often, but DC and Lego are fucking up royally by not making Green Lantern their premier character for superhero stuff. Wyatt's Batman is the dumbest fucking decision in the world because they've clearly very quickly run out of ideas of what to do with Batman. It did not take long. You got Lego Batman 1 and 2. Like, by the time you get to Lego Batman 2, they have to introduce the Justice League. By the time you get to Lego Batman 3, they're like, all right, fuck it, the entire DC universe now, because we don't know what the fuck to do with Batman and Lego anymore. Can you imagine all the shit you could do with Green Lantern Lego sets? They even come with like the different colored cores to like, you could make the same set twice and just change the fucking color palette. It's like, you don't even have to stick with a theme. You can do a castle set with a fucking underwater set and it'd be fine and people would love it. All you have to do is make the pieces green and red. You'd be fine. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, there's almost no Green Lantern merchandise is in such a shitty state of affairs. Like, when the movie came out, they finally started releasing Green Lantern rings that lit up. And now you can't get them anymore because all the batteries are dead in them and they can't be replaced.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like, if you want a Green Lantern ring that lights up anymore, you gotta like pay really, really big money for it, basically.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And the money you're paying for it, it's like there's one official product and it's like $300 because you gotta buy it with the battery. It's ridiculous. DC fucks up on Green Lantern merchandise. It's stupid. It's a very marketable character, but they don't fucking do it right. That's all. Rant over.
Yeah,
just,
I'm
just annoyed.
I gotta look up that Green Lantern ring now.
Yeah. Okay, there's a question. Is there something out there that, like, you really want, but they just don't make it? Is there something, like, where you ever thought, man, I'd really like this thing? Because I can think of another example that's not Green Lantern related. I really want a Batman umbrella that has a light at the handle that goes up the stem so you can turn it into a fucking bat signal. I think that should be a thing. I think that'd be cool as shit. I don't know how well it'd work. You might need to, like, play around with exactly how big a light you'd need to make it really effective for more than 10 feet away, but at the same time, if you just really need to light up the umbrella and you'll get the effect you want. Just saying. Just throwing that one out there. How about you, Alfie? Any product that, like, you thought should be a thing and just you can't find a thing like it?
Well, I mean, I don't really want to get into the whole cosplay because that's kind of my origin story. Is I was just kind of like, I used to just do, like, when I was a kid, I always had store-bought costumes, and I got really fucking Spider-Man eyes always had holes. Like, can you just make a fucking mask, please? And that's just since I'm 4 years old. As my first. I had put on the Spider-Man mask, and had holes in it. I was like, fuck! Now, from now on, it's Superman, like, cape. Because I can hang them up and it looks like the Fortress of Solitude. It looks fucking awesome. But in terms of just, like, regular merchandise, I'm like, why don't you make that? I always kind of thought, like, the whole idea of, you know, the silly string Spider-Man, like, web shooter things?
Yeah.
They're always so fucking completely wrong design. Why isn't it silver? Make an actual web shooter.
Yeah.
And, like, the cartridges are always these, like, godly ass tubes. About that silver and, like, a little spider signal, kids would eat that shit up. You could, like, load it up and, like, especially with Homecoming, how they've actually, like, put the cartridges out when, like, the web shooter's out. Make it look like that. They always make it like gigantic Iron Man gauntlet. I'm like, okay. Like, I think, like, that kind of, I think gadgets in general is something we're missing out on, especially with Batman. Is like, I remember the Nolan movies, there was a lot of, like, Batman toy gadgets around, like utility belts, but they were always, like, half closed. Like, we'd have, like, a utility belt, but then, like, it would stop halfway, and then the rest of the belt would just be, like, a strap. And I'm like, just make the whole thing, like, closed, like, put some goddamn effort into it. Or just general things like that is where it's like, it exists, but it's not existing hard enough for me.
They're not doing it right.
You don't understand here. It's like the Green Lantern rings. I went to my comic book shop where, like, I think it was like the Blackest Night was, like, kicking off or something, because I don't keep up with Green Lantern, so you know this shit. But, like, they were giving out Green Lantern rings for free. I'm like, those are cool, but there's, like, really shitty plastic things. I see where you gave these out for free.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I know a lot of people don't like the Green Lantern movie and a lot of the design choices. The best rings, the absolute best rings came with the toys. And it's stupid how much, like, you go on eBay right now and you look up die-cast metal Green Lantern ring, and people are just selling the rings that came with the toys for, like $30. And you could just buy the action figures. I swear, if you go to, like, certain toy stores, they probably still got them in, like, the fucking clearance bins. Every toy came with a fucking ring, and it's like, it's really good. The only problem with them is on some people they're too small, on some people they're too big. And it's like, it's just it's not like a super cheap metal that, like, bends and anything. Like, the way it's made works out so all right. So really, if it's too small, you can cut through that real quick and just, you know, kind of adjust it out. I can't really do anything with mine that are too big, because, yeah, I'm not really going to take that to a fucking jeweler, but hey. Like, the best rings ever that they made from the Green Lantern movie came with the toys. It's so ridiculous how good a job they did for those. It's one of the many reasons I'm super disappointed that movie did not perform well, because I really wanted the sequels to come out and make similar style rings with the toys for all the other different cores, because I've seen so many kind of aftermarket rings, like you got people doing their own die casting or their own plastic molding or their own 3D printing, and they're doing all right here or there or whatever, but nothing was better than the Green Lantern movie rings. Nothing DC has ever released has been better than the Green Lantern movie rings. It's ridiculous. And by the way, the light up ring that I mentioned, yeah, movie tie-in merchandise. It's aggravating. All right. Well, I'm not sure we got much else. Ruben, wait, Ruben, we didn't get yours. What is the thing that you want to exist that doesn't?
Well, it does exist, but like Alfie said, it doesn't exist enough. I would love to be able to wear a legitimate metal Magneto helmet. And I've seen them. I was just looking at them on eBay earlier today, and like they're out there. If you want to pay, looks like the cheapest one was like $50, and I don't know, like I
it's
don't think
honestly not that bad. It really isn't.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm just really scared to spend money. But like I almost like, because I saw someone, this is a few months ago, where they made not a paper, kind of sort of like a paper mache, but not, like it has a cardboard interior, but then they like painted it up and everything, and it looked really good. It looked like the Days of Future Past helmet that he had in the movie, but it was a homemade one, and I've never been crafty enough to make something that like I made actually look good, but man, looking at that, I really wanted to be crafty enough to do something like that, because it looked really cool.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, this was fun, guys. I had a good time with this one. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. Alfie, what are we going to be reviewing next week?
Next week, because you kind of brought up the whole idea of like what ifs and stuff, it's a miniseries Marvel did, I think around about 2003, called Powerless.
I'm sorry, called what now?
Powerless.
Powerless. Okay.
I think I have some of those issues somewhere.
Alrighty. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the Comics Kid 2099.
And I'm just a geek for fun.
And we are your geeky gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.